people like me. You need people like me so you can point your fucking fingers and say, that's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy.
Welcome to the motherfucking relay. We're covering today's top boxing news.
Okay, we'll start with this. It's official. The Dina Thorslund versus Usyk Luna unification match for what is the WBO and WBC titles set to go down September 1st in Denmark will now be for not only their alphabet titles, but the coveted Ring Magazine belt. I believe that this will be the inaugural. This will be the first time a Ring Magazine champion is crowned in the women's bantamweight division. Bantamweight, that's 118 pounds. That's where Ebony Bridges holds the IBF title. Nina Hughes, she's got the WBA. Dina Thorslund's got the WBO. Usyk Luna's got the WBC. Four champions at 118 pounds. There will soon be just three. After September, somebody's got to win and somebody's got to lose. It's the nature of the beast. Of the four champions at 118 pounds, Dina Thorslund and Usyk Luna, they really are the number one and number two fighters, number one and number two champions at the weight. More accomplished, more experienced than, say, Ebony Bridges or Nina Hughes. Both Dina and Usyk are two division champions. The both of them reigned as champions at both super bantamweight and currently at bantamweight. Set to kick off the title consolidation effort at 118 pounds, a division that has stood divided for some years. This will be the first unification match the division has seen in recent memory. And a true 50-50 fight. Now, Dina Thorslund may go into this fight with a home field advantage because it's going down in her neck of the woods, but Usyk, she'll have a height advantage, a reach advantage. She's always been very tall as far as bantamweights go. Dina being the smaller, shorter, stumpier fighter of the two, it'll be on her to close the distance and get within striking distance of Usyk Luna, who characteristically likes to move lateral, lay off, take a few steps back in order to set traps, in order to set up counter punches, counter shots. She's good at that. Saw that in the Barbie Juarez fight, where she pried the WBC title away from then-champion Barbie Juarez, and we saw that more recently in the Mayeli Flores fight. Mayeli Flores, a mid-range to inside pressure fighter. And a strong puncher. You will notice that even though Usyk Luna is effective off the back foot, when shifting her weight to her back foot and setting a trap, you will notice she's effective, but her punches are somewhat wider than Dina's. Dina Thorslund, the smaller, stumpier fighter, the shorter fighter with the shorter arms, her punches are crisp, snappy, shorter punches than what you see from Usyk Luna, which makes those punches harder to counter. She goes for the shot. Before you know it, she's out of there. Dina Thorslund is a characteristically more aggressive fighter than Usyk Luna. More aggressive, though in terms of power, I do think they're about even, I do. That's saying that just because Dina Thorslund is more front foot heavy and likes to come forward more often than not, more often than, say, Usyk Luna, that doesn't make her the bigger puncher. That just makes her the more aggressive fighter. And it being that Dina is a pocket-sized bantamweight, more often than not, she has to come forward. She doesn't have the wingspan to box from the outside anyway. She's nuanced when she does it, very bouncy, on her toes, in and out. But she is the more come-forward fighter of the two, the more come-forward fighter between her and Usyk Luna. The trial for Dina Thorslund is going to be getting within striking distance of Usyk Luna safely, getting within striking distance of her and not getting hammered with counters. Hard ones. There's a legitimate argument that Usyk Luna will be the biggest puncher that Dina Thorslund has ever fought across two weight classes, two divisions, 122 and now 118. Getting close to Usyk Luna will prove difficult because she likes to set traps. She likes to move and punch and counter her opponents on their way in. That's the trial for Dina. The trial for Usyk Luna. She's got to be careful not to get outworked. She may be the taller and longer fighter of the two, taller and longer than Dina Thorslund, but she's got to be careful not to give the judges the impression she's getting bullied, that she's getting pushed around in moving lateral and creating space, trying to maintain it.
Keep distance.
You know, Dina Thorslund is a lot trickier than, say, a Mayeli Flores. A Mayeli Flores who's not bouncy, not athletic, is always barreling forward. What you see is what you get. She's trickier than a Mayeli Flores and faster than a Barbie Juarez. Sharper movements, shorter punches. Dina Thorslund is quick. For me and my money,
She's got the edge in speed.
I think they're dead even when it comes to power.
Dina and Yuli Hang.
I feel like Dina Thorslund is a bit flashier to the eye than Yuli Hang is, but Yuli Hang actually has the better resume of the two, fought the better fighters.
It's a tough fight to edge. I'm looking forward to it.
But it's a tough fight to edge. The trial for Dina is getting close to a moving target, and the trial for Yuli Hang is being careful not to get bullied, being careful not to get outworked on foreign soil. We'll talk more about the fight as the fight date approaches. In men's heavyweight news, Usyk's promoter, Alexander Krassyuk, criticizes Fury, saying he's disrespectful to his fans. What they want in return is the big fight. Not this novelty act, not this spectacle, not the circus fight that Francis Ngannou is going to be.
I don't even know what the appetite for that is.
Tyson Fury has become famous, rich, recognized, only for one reason. And the reason is because boxing fans put hands in their pockets and spend money on his fights. Krassyuk told Seconds Out, it means buying pay-per-views, it means buying tickets, buying merchandise, whatever. So the money that Tyson Fury has in his bank account is the money that comes from fans' pockets. And showing the disrespect to the fans like he does. Fans want something in return, and the thing they want in return is the big fight. And Tyson is not delivering. He's not paying back. This is disrespectful to his fans, and this is what can completely destroy Tyson's image. Fury's promoter, Frank Warren, used to say that there's so much hate for Tyson Fury because Usyk and his team came and showed up and tried to put pressure, dirty pressure. No, that's not the reason.
Not the only reason.
Though it's certainly a part of it. Tyson Fury is a hypocrite, a brazen hypocrite, who fancied himself a Spartan while calling Anthony Joshua a businessman.
What the hell do you call this?
The only sense it makes to fight Francis Ngannou in a circus fight isn't sporting sense in the sporting sense of the word. It makes business sense. The most rewards for the least risks. Not in keeping with a Spartan.
What you would expect from a Spartan.
Any two-bit boxer can whore himself to shows just like this one, whore himself to crossover fights and novelty acts. I mean, anybody can do that.
But for a sitting champion to do that, a guy in possession of an alphabet title, when there's already a super fight there waiting for him.
And a big purse. A very big purse, according to his own promoter here stateside, Bob Arum. The Saudis were willing to pay handsomely for that fight. So there's really no excuse for Tyson to prioritize a spectacle with Ngannou over a fight with Usyk.
The fight with Usyk is a legacy fight. The fight with Usyk is a cash fight. There's plenty of money.
No excuse not to do it, aside from circumventing risks.
Tyson is scared to lose. Just call a spade a spade. He's scared.
He's scared to lose to Usyk. Usyk who says, I don't even care about the WBC title. I need Tyson Fury. We need to fight.
Tyson Fury doesn't get to walk around acting like he's God's gift to boxing if the same man that beat Anthony Joshua ends up beating him.
That's reality. I don't even care about the belt anymore. I need him. I need him. The WBC title is just a little extra motivation, but the people and the fans just need to see us fight. We need to fight. We need to fight. People talk about this fight for 20, 30, 40 years, so we need to have the fight.
Goes without saying.
For now, Usyk's got to take care of his mandatory challenger. He will be the overwhelming favorite in Wrocław on August 26th, but Daniel Dubois' promoter, Frank Warren, is convinced the London heavyweight will pull off one of the biggest upsets in the division's history by knocking out the Ukrainian icon.
You wish.
It's a little more than wishful thinking. Anyone who took in Daniel Dubois' last fight with South Africa's own Kevin Lerena, a cruiserweight who moved up in weight, a southpaw, just like Usyk,
Though not cut from the same cloth as Usyk, without Usyk's amateur background and his accolades as a professional.
Kevin Lerena came very close to stopping Daniel Dubois. Kevin Lerena you understand.
What do you think Usyk's gonna do to him? Why do you think he's the overwhelming favorite going into this thing?
Frank Warren might be crossing his fingers and clenching his sphincter, hoping that Daniel Dubois can pull off a miracle in Wrocław, Poland. To that, Usyk said, Dubois is young and good. He is a prospect, but Frank is a promoter, so he has to talk a lot.
When asked whether or not Dubois represents a harder night's work than Anthony Joshua, who he has outpointed twice, Usyk added, Joshua is an Olympic champion and a two-time world champion, but I need to prepare for a Dubois fight. I don't need to compare opponents.
Bit of Eastern philosophy, Eastern wisdom. The past is in the past, and he's got to focus on Daniel. Though if you want to know what I think, and you're here, so I'll assume that you do, Anthony Joshua is 10 times the boxer that Daniel Dubois is. The only advantage Daniel has over Usyk is that he's some years younger and bigger,
but he's not a better boxer than AJ. He doesn't have AJ's amateur background, his pedigree. He doesn't have his professional accolades.
The only reason that Dev Sani and Frank Warren are running around blowing smoke up everybody's ass is because they have to. They don't have a choice.
Daniel's their last hope. This entire fiasco between Team Fury and Team Usyk has been a PR nightmare for Team Fury. A lot of people have turned on him.
Honest to God, I don't want to make bold proclamations, but here and now, I really do question what the appetite for another circus fight is, another crossover MMA guy versus boxer.
Being honest, I don't find myself all that interested in it. It's probably going to cost $80 to watch here stateside.
Wrestling with the idea of making that purchase when the outcome is all but a foregone conclusion. In a boxing ring, the boxer has the advantage. That much is obvious.
So what's the point?
Tyson Fury, we can see what the point is. He gets to make a fuck ton of money without taking any risks. But to the consumer, the boxing fan, you tell me, what's the point in watching that?
Because you didn't already know that Tyson Fury's a better boxer than Francis Ngannou?
Doesn't it seem strange that instead of choosing the top 10 guy, the guy is choosing someone who never boxed before?
Do you think he's scared?
Yeah, of course. Of course. Greedy belly, afraid.
Frank Warren spent ages slating Usyk, that he has absolutely no value. No one knows who he is. He was at a press conference today saying the bloke's massive and what a massive fight this is with Dubois. And this is on pay-per-view. Of course it's on pay-per-view. Usyk's a huge star. It's like, we all do it. We all do it. I'm not saying that I don't talk bollocks. We all talk bollocks. But you're better off, like, honestly, if I was promoting Joshua against Ngannou, yeah, of course I'd tell you how Ngannou punches really hard and you never know what could happen. But sometimes you're better off just saying, yeah, we're going to nick a few quid. Like, and if you don't fancy the Usyk fight, and then they made a silly email to Joshua and it's like, oh, so we can go out and say, well, everybody else turned the fight down. So what were we going to do? Do you know what I mean? Fight Frank Sanchez, fight Filip Hrgovic, fight Martin Bacoli, fight someone else in the top 10. But I rate the hustle.
It's the real psyop here, the real mind job, that if you let Frank Warren and Tyson Fury tell the story, it was Ngannou or nobody. It was Ngannou or nothing. Like there isn't an entire heavyweight landscape out there full of contenders that would have been happy to take on Tyson Fury and challenge him for that WBC title. But the reason that he chose Ngannou and not one of them is because he doesn't stand to make as much money fighting one of them. In fact, he might put himself in jeopardy. His reign as a champion.
At this point in Tyson Fury's career, do you think he wants to have to go to hell and back?
Through hell and back.
No.
In what would be an ordinary fight for an ordinary-sized purse, an ordinary payday, not a big one. Do you think at this point in his career, in his mid-30s, this guy wants to have to work hard for his money?
Oh, listen, what I want to hear, and I hope to hear from Tyson Fury's mouth, is this is purely and simply about money. This is a business transaction. We're prize fighters.
Yeah.
Let's dress it up for what it is, right? It's a crossover fight. Opens another avenue for me. And you know what? I'm going to get paid. He does his little videos telling everyone how much money he's got and how everyone should sit there with the mean-spirited little piles of money or whatever he said recently on his latest video. Let's have this one said for what it is. I don't think it's admirable. I don't think it's impressive. And I don't think it's reflective of what I believe it should be considered the generational great of fighters fighting Francis Ngannou.
Yeah.
But it kind of is what it is, and all I want to hear is people say, well, it's fight. It's not becoming of the heavyweight champion of the world, but good job you're getting paid, mate. I'm really pleased for you.
I mean, even when Simon Jordan of TalkSport is trying to be critical of Tyson Fury, I still get the sense that he's pulling punches that he doesn't pull on Anthony Joshua, who doesn't pull this kind of crap.
Anthony Joshua, who said, when everyone's favorite at TalkSport won 12 rounds with Otto Berlin and busted his eye open, no one complained. AJ goes 12 with Jermaine Franklin, and it's hard. What's happened to the division? There is an attack on my name, especially on TalkSport.
I happen to think that if it were Anthony Joshua, at this point in his career, who decided to take a break from boxing, real boxing with real boxers, if he decided to take a break here and now and fight an MMA fighter like Fury's about to, Simon Jordan would have a lot more to say about it.
More than he's saying about Fury.
Simon, who responded to Anthony Joshua by saying, it's just a case of victimhood and redirection from some constructive observations, and they don't like it. You've got an express train of huge economic benefits. With that comes people observing you. Grow up. Be a man.
His response to Anthony Joshua seems a lot more malicious to me than his reaction to Fury versus Ngannou. He's telling Anthony Joshua to grow up and be a man.
When Fury, the sitting champion, decides he doesn't want to box with boxers anymore, he wants to cash out versus an MMA fighter, all Simon has to say about it is what it is. But
if Anthony responds to the constant attacks, the constant criticisms he gets on TalkSport, if he responds to that, Simon says he should grow up. He should be a man.
Hypocritical is what it is. And Tyson Fury's hypocrisy is reflected in those who support him the most. Because Simon Jordan, eloquent speaker that he might be, he seems a hypocrite to me. He does. I don't think he's laying into Tyson Fury quite as bad as he would be if it were Anthony Joshua fighting an MMA fighter.
I think if it were AJ fighting an MMA fighter, he'd resort to calling AJ a coward.
Isn't that what he called Eddie Hearn in the thick of the Conor Benn UCAD fiasco? Didn't he call Eddie Hearn a coward? But what do you call Tyson Fury for skipping out on Usyk to fight a boxer that never boxed?
On the premise that he couldn't find someone else to fight. He couldn't find anyone else to keep busy with over the summer so he could make it to the Usyk fight in December.
The money is there, so that's no excuse. It's not like the Usyk fight pays peanuts on the dollar.
There's a fuck ton of money waiting for him in Saudi if he's willing to fight Usyk, but he doesn't want to do it.
I happen to think, if it were Anthony Joshua behaving this way, instead of Tyson Fury, Simon Jordan would have a lot more to say about it than it just is what it is.
I'll tell you what it is. What it is nauseating.
I don't have any professional affiliations or relationships that I have to maintain. I ain't got no hair on my tongue, and I ain't gonna pull punches on Fury and his latest fiasco. He's a piece of shit. This is bad for boxing.
You're willing to endorse a con man over Anthony Joshua for some reason in particular.
Because Tyson Fury is a con man. He is a grifter. That much is established.
You've got all the time in the world to talk about Anthony Joshua's imperfections, but Tyson Fury's got even more.
Save the unbeaten record. You tell me what the real motivation behind that is.